Hello, I'm Maxi, and you're watching MERAXIS TV, live from the K 2022. Thanks so much for tuning in. So, what is the secret to achieving a success? Well, it's just simplify complexity. Let's talk about this option with my guest. Hello, and a very warm welcome, Christof Hosner. Hello.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you here with us. So, first of all, tell us a bit more about your department, investment goods. What is that about?
The department, MERAXIS Investment Good, is trading with injection molds, check fixtures, load carriers, machinery and equipment, everything which is in use for the polymer processing industry. And the organization is spread out about 4 locations, and it contains 20 highly motivated team members.
We often want things to be easier, to be simpler. And I think it also comes true when we're talking about business, right? So, simplifying, on the other hand, can be very challenging sometimes. So, for example, partly large size molds, these large pieces. This is a challenge sometimes, right?
Yeah, definitely. When we look from a logistics standpoint, of course, when you talk about overseas business, then we have to ship it from Asia, for example, to Europe, and then you need freight space, you need a container, and so on. That's definitely a challenge, and it's not so easy anymore. But this is just one portion, because each single mold is unique. It's built to order, it's customized, it's lot size 1, so you can't buy in an e-shop as a standard product. And for that reason is challenging as well. And it doesn't matter on the size. Even a small size mold has a certain complexity. And for that reason, the size is second priority. Mm-hmm. And that means at the end you need reliable partners on board. You need good partnerships, and where you can trust, and where you know what you get, where you can count on it. That is basically the most important thing to succeed together.
Especially for medium-sized companies, I think total cost consideration and supplier management is a critical factor. What would you say? Why is it difficult for especially medium-sized companies?
Well, these small to mid-sized companies, they have to source a handful of molds per year, maybe, depending on the size and on the projects which they have on board. And for them, it could be that it doesn't make sense to spend that much effort in building up business relationships, to build up partner relationships, and so on, because you have to invest time and money and resources to qualify a supplier, to bring them on board. And some companies may decide that this does not make sense to do that by their own. Furthermore, there is also, of course, a risk, because, even if you have an existing supply relationship, the market is changing very fast. Today, maybe we are sourcing more in Europe, tomorrow maybe more in China. So you have also to adjust your pool of partners depending on the market situation. And for that reason, you need to be absolutely flexible, and that means you have to do ongoing efforts, ongoing developments, and of course also the companies itself, they are changing also. Some of them, they are sold, they have new organizational structures, and that is all what you need to consider beyond the financial situation.
So do I understand you correctly? In short, through MERAXIS, medium-sized companies and medium-sized processors can also procure the capital goods in best cost countries, and quite easily too? Well, sounds great.
That's absolutely the case, and thank you very much for addressing that. That's absolutely the point, because we have an existing structure, we have a global structure, as I mentioned before. I will then talk a little bit more about this one, but everything is available and ready to use. And we are buying per year several hundred injection molds already, so we have ongoing business, and basically we know which partner is the best for each project. And that is ready, available, and you can use it.
What would you say, in your point of view, what advantages does MERAXIS offer in addition to its partner network and global presence?
Well, for a division investment goods talking, we have experience in the business applications, for example, automotive. We are very familiar with automotive processes, general industrial appliances, but also medical industry, recycling industry. So we have basically the full range available of expertise in our department, and that is basically also beneficial for each customer outside of our organization. And this is available, this know-how is there. That is definitely an advantage. But beyond that, as I mentioned, we have also the the volume behind it. We are buying per year several hundred molds, and for that reason we have ongoing business. And beyond that, it's not just the injection mold. We can also supply the check fixture if there is one needed. Then we can also buying the load carrier if we have sensitive parts, for example, a sensitive surface on the parts itself. Then we can provide everything. We have one partner and we supply everything. That's basically a positive point. And beyond that, let me just say this: we are offering also financing solutions, extended payment terms. That is what we have on hand. And of course, our molds, what we are selling, they are field tested, they are production proofed, because within our holding structure, we have plants. And once again, everything is also in production process and we know what we are selling. And that gives you additional security. Furthermore, our production portfolio is always growing. We are checking all options. For example, we closed a partnership with the engineering factory GK Concept in Dresden. So we want also to provide additional services to our customers, that they have additional benefits. So you get a carefree package out of one hand. Beyond the advantages of the one-stop shop, you know, the polymers, the prime material, the recycling material, and of course trade parts, investments, everything you get. And you have just one supplier. One supplier, you get out everything.
It really sounds like an all-inclusive package.
Yeah, definitely. It's also customized. You know, we have basically, certain pillars or certain product groups available, and then our customer is deciding what they want. When they want to have additional services, some of our customers, they have deep knowledge in engineering. They know exactly what they want. So it's basically a more easy one. They have tool specification, design guidelines. Then it becomes easy because they have a clear expectation about their product and their needs and requirements. And other of what we have learned, they have not really an idea what they need. And then we have to jump in, and for that reason we need service providers which can then bring on speed and can show them options, and that helps additional. And once again, we have not one fit all solution. We need to understand what the company wants, what is important, and then we have to ensure that we have the right fit together.
So you find individual solutions, you have the commercial, you have the technical know-how, you offer attractive conditions, and besides of customer security that we haven't talked about yet, but which is also really important, what distinguishes MERAXIS from typical providers, right?
Yes, exactly.
And typical traders. So what does the cooperation look like from a practical side, in concrete terms? Do you have an example?
Yeah, for sure. I have an example. A company in Germany. It's a very qualified company, very deep technical know-how, and clear expectations what they need. They have also their own tool shop actually, but sometimes they are sourcing also certain molds, injection molds outside. And we got a RFQ, and yes, we received the RFQ package. Company MERAXIS was part of the bidding list. We could quote it. We had a look at the parts, at the requirements. Then we sent out this RFQ to our partners, to suitable partners. And then before we sent out the quote to company Krumpholz, then we had a look at it, and then we said, okay, what would be the best sourcing market? Where should we buy it, the mold? What do you think? Where do we have the lowest risk? And so then we discussed. And then, of course, there were many discussions back and forward, and we were just one company of their bidding list. But at the end of the day, we could convince them with our services, what we are doing, with our benefits, and of course also the security behind MERAXIS, our organization. We are not just a one-man show. We have really a established organization, and for that reason, we could convince them. And of course, we were also competitive on the total cost of ownership standpoint. We could earn this business, yes.
So an exciting project. Is it a typical one?
Another example is for startup Baumgarten Systems. They want to make the cities green. These are very smart guys. It's also a pleasure to work with this company. Complete different mindset. And at the end of the day, they came to us and said, we need some plastic parts. We need plastic parts and so on. They had not really an idea about an injection mold, how that needs to work, what needs to be considered. And for that reason, it was a completely different approach. And this was also a learning curve for us. And for that reason, we have our partners, our service providers, technical service providers, which can then help here and support here and find out an appropriate solution together with them. And we can also manage this kind of projects. And of course, then we can also support here.
Thank you so much, Christof, for your valuable contribution. Yes, the strength of the MERAXIS one-stop shop and its know-how is fully played out here. And if you want to have further information about our one-stop shop, then follow us on LinkedIn. Thanks for watching.